Good evening, everybody. Good evening.
Hello.
Hi. Tawana, let me know if in the chat if you want to come on or not, so you know from before. Good evening to everybody. Welcome. You know if it's Wednesday, it's Blockchain Day. So, and Talisha, if you can monitor the attendees, let me know when Kendra comes in. I'm going to start the Facebook Live.
Hey, Eric.
Hello, Eric.
How you doing?
Good, thank you.
Had to jump off earlier. I had my tax person call me. Yeah,
That's okay.
yeah, you know.
Kendra has entered the room.
Yeah.
Hello, Miss Kendra.
Hey, Kendra.
I think you're on mute.
Yeah.
All right, there it is. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, we can. Welcome.
Hey, how are you?
I'm well. How about yourself?
We're good, thank you.
So far?
We're going to let everyone know, give us another couple of minutes. I'm starting Facebook Live. Take some time, get your beverage of choice. Maybe you're having dinner, whatever you are doing right now. We're going to start in a couple of minutes, and we have a great topic tonight.
I know. I'm excited.
Yes, yes. So I'm just waiting for my Facebook to. I think a lot of people, because everyone is home now, they're doing lives and they're on Zoom and all of this. So it really is kind of stress testing all of our systems. So yeah. So for whatever reason, Facebook Live doesn't want to work tonight. But you know what? We're recording it here and we just upload it later. So
that's how I do it.
Hey, and Kendra, by the way, too, good to see you again. I haven't seen you last since Baltimore.
I know, right?
It was 2 years ago.
It's been a while. It's been a while.
2 years ago that we started this. Yes, this journey.
It's a beautiful journey at that.
It has definitely been a memorable journey. I am so proud of you. You are just, a pioneer and a thought leader and all of that. And we do pay attention. So we see what you're doing and we definitely admire you. And we're honored that you asked for us to host your group, the National Coalition of 100 Black Women tonight. We don't take that lightly, and I'm very serious because the greatest thing anybody can give you is a referral or to say, hey, I trust these people with the knowledge they're bringing you. So we don't take that lightly. And, we definitely want to do a good job for you and your ladies.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. So, all righty then. Well, we're going to officially start the program for the evening. So hello, everybody. Welcome to Black Blockchain Consultants. I'm Cherie. I am the founder of the organization. At BBC, we focus on 4 things. First of all, we focus on the business of blockchain. A lot of blockchain groups focus on the technology. We focus on the business. How can this $3.1 trillion industry trickle into your pocketbooks or wallets? So, and we mean that figuratively and blockchain-like wallets. So we'll explain a little bit more about that later on. But we focus on 4 things. Number 1 is there are going to be tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of blockchain jobs that are going to be created between now and 2030. We want you to be aware of what those jobs are, and we want you to be able to take advantage of those new positions because Roland Martin, for example, just did, I think it was about 3 or 4 months ago, he did a segment on the fact that Black people are going to lose 4.3 million jobs. I think it was like 4.3 million. It was definitely 4 point something million jobs because of artificial intelligence in the next decade. And a lot of those jobs are going to shift to jobs like this within blockchain. Doesn't mean you need to know how to code. In fact, we are a group of non-coders, but there are ways for you to take advantage of some of the upcoming job opportunities that are going to be available. So blockchain jobs, the second is blockchain-based businesses. If you want to start a side hustle or a full-time hustle, leveraging blockchain, you're able to do that, and we talk about that here in BBC. Third thing we look at is investing in the blockchain, which Kendra has asked us to talk about tonight. You can invest both time and money in blockchain and blockchain projects. So we talk about that. And then the fourth is how can you use the blockchain industry to create generational wealth for you and your family. So I want to introduce Talisha Shine. She is our tech person and also the Vice President of Blockchain Consortium International. So Talisha, you want to say hello?
Yes, good evening, everyone.
Okay. And Eric, Eric is the President of Blockchain Consortium International. Want to introduce yourself?
Yes, Eric Spence, President of Blockchain Consortium International. Love this group, love working in blockchain, and just believe wholeheartedly that this technology, when applied in the correct places, is going to have a transformative effect.
Fantastic. And our special guest tonight, Kendra Emeruem of the National Coalition of 100 Black Women, the Mecca Chapter in Atlanta. Hello.
Yes, yes. Hello, hello, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Do you want to introduce your organization or anything like that?
Of course, of course. So once again, yes, I am here today on behalf of the National Coalition of 100 Black Women, Mecca Chapter, and we are definitely an advocacy group on behalf of women and girls in areas such as economic empowerment, which I'm the co-chair of, health, education, as well as political advocacy.
Fantastic. Now, if we can advocate for the stimulus checks to arrive faster, I think Black America would really appreciate that. So, but in the meantime, I know you also have a couple of other Facebook groups and things like that. Do you want to let people know about any of that?
Sure, sure. I also have Women in Cryptocurrency. That is a Facebook group. And if you're, just getting into the blockchain cryptocurrency era, that is just a great place to start, especially if you're wanting to download a wallet, learn how to buy crypto, sell it or trade it. That's a good place to start. It's a ton of information in that group. Once again, that's Women in Cryptocurrency. We talk about a lot of blockchain startups, blockchain changes as well. A lot of that content comes from Ms. Talisha and Cherie themselves, believe it or not. And every now and then when there's like a key advancement, you'll see me do a keynote Wednesday, and that's when I'll bring on someone in the industry and we'll talk about the advancements that they have made or what they're doing entering into the space.
Yeah, and I'm so proud of Women in Cryptocurrency and the interviews that you do, because I get to meet a lot of people virtually that I would not have known about or not have run into. And of course, there are lists of Black people who are doing wonderful things within blockchain, whether they're starting platforms or they're thought leaders like we are, educators, or, they're doing things with their governments or a specific area of the diaspora. So I encourage people to recognize that Black people are really doing big things in this industry. And we want more of us, to be involved. So I kind of liken it to the fact that there are, for example, certain Asian communities like Indian Americans and Pakistani Americans that really have dominated certain types of technology, data management and things like that. I would love to see a group of us dominate a certain area of blockchain. That would be like a dream of mine. So yeah, so the conversation that you asked us to talk tonight about is investing in the blockchain and investing in cryptocurrency. And we look at it a bit differently than the average group that's out there.
Mhm.
So a lot of times when people say invest, they do mean in cryptocurrency. And we are going to talk about the difference tonight between crypto and blockchain. We're also going to talk about the difference between a utility token and a security token, because these things are very important in helping people understand what they're getting into. And then the pet peeve of mine, I started out talking about this 2 years ago, and it is starting now to take effect. People believe that if they invest in a cryptocurrency, that they're investing in the underlying company. And I started saying 2 years ago, these blockchain companies are going to start selling for big money. And when they do, you will not be any richer because you have invested in the cryptocurrency and not the LLC or the corporation. And we're starting to see some of that happening with the consolidation and the acquisitions that are happening. So we want to talk about that as well. I do want to let everyone know here, if you have questions, please feel free to put them in the chat or the Q&A. There's no elementary questions or no questions that are off limits with regards to this. We definitely want to be a resource to everyone that's here tonight from the National Coalition of 100 Black Women, as well as from our BBC group. So let's see here. So Regina, we're going to get to your question a little bit later, but I do see your question here. So thank you so much. Okay, so are we ready to get started with the conversation for the evening? Did you guys have anything else you wanted to add before hopping?
Let's dive in.
Okay, all right. So for those of you who are new, who don't know, I happen to like articles. So we read through some of the article and then, you know, I have my panel comment on certain things. So that's how we roll over here. Before we do that though, I did want to take a moment and just show you the BBC website. So this is Black Blockchain Consultants. You are able to come see resources here. There's a blog that's on here and various types of resources. And if you decide you want to become a member, you can just click that button there and look at the benefits of membership. We also have our Black Blockchain Consultants YouTube page. We've done 195 videos thus far. Some of them are long form with, you know, over an hour, you know, which is our Blockchain Chat Wednesdays. And some of them are short, like this one is 11 minutes here. So there's something for everybody with regards to information you can gather. So I wanted to show that, especially for the National Coalition of 100 Black Women. Please come subscribe to our YouTube channel, you know, and look at videos as well. And then the final thing is, this is our Center for Blockchain Studies. We have a bunch of courses that you can take. So if you put in just blockchainstudies.tech, and Talisha will put that in the chat for everybody, you're able to see the various courses that we have, including our Blockchain 101 course that gets you certified as a certified blockchain professional. We have the 6-figure blockchain business course, blockchain and healthcare, supply chain management. We have 3 pages full of courses that you are able to take. So I just wanted to make sure I made those announcements as well. So let's take a look just at some overall statistics with regards to blockchain, because I just want to give people an understanding of how big this is going to be. So by 2022, worldwide spending on blockchain solutions is expected to be $11 billion. And by 2030, they're expecting it to be 3.1 trillion. The blockchain tech market is estimated to accumulate 20 billion in revenue by 2024. And there's very little penetration with this. According to this, end of 2019, there are only 42 million blockchain wallet users. So Talisha or Eric, do you want to explain what a wallet is for people and why this number of 42 million is saying exceeded here, but that's actually very small in comparison to 6 billion people on planet Earth. So we're super early in this.
Go ahead, I'll let you take it, Eric.
Yeah, for digital assets, they need to be held in, and we use the term wallet, and the wallet primarily becomes, Talisha, I guess you would consider it be an interface
Correct.
between the end user and the blockchain itself. Now, one of the key points about these wallets is you, as the primary user, as the only user, you have what's called a private key, which gives you access to that wallet. Anyone who does have access to the private key does have access to the wallet itself.
Mm-hmm. And your money.
Yeah, exactly. So that means all of the funds to the money itself. So that's one of the major things about why the wallet itself needs to be as far as you can go in protecting that. You need to do that. If I'm not mistaken, I know like the Winklevoss twins. If you guys have seen them, they, of course, they own the exchange Gemini, and I believe that for their Bitcoin wallet, I think they have it. They have the private key itself separated
in different places.
Into individual places in the safe deposit boxes across the globe. And that's the extent of where people go to secure their funds. Because that's the point. If someone has your private key, they have access to your wallet, they have access to your funds, they go, they take it, and guess what? Now I do believe that we are getting better in terms of law enforcement when it comes down to finding out. But once again, if that happens, it's gone. It's gone, and there's usually no recourse. There's very little recourse to do once those funds have been.
I'll make another addition to that. Digital asset can also not only mean cryptocurrency, but it can actually mean data. So for healthcare, for example, if you have your private healthcare records, maybe you have all of your healthcare records in a file, it will actually be held in a wallet, meaning that that's the storage container for that information. And again, a private key becomes very helpful in the sense that that's your information and you're able to disseminate that information based upon someone requesting the information from you, not just coming in and taking it. But if you lose that private key, again, you run the risk of having that data exposed to someone who is not the authority to actually have that access.
Absolutely.
And I think we always talk about storage as well, like the types of, you can do a Trezor or the Ledger Nano, which are like the hard wallets. Those are off storage devices where it's not on your computer or laptop. So that's what we suggest anyway, to store it offline so you can actually have it in hand.
Yes, the only thing is you have to make sure you keep up with your private keys. And if anything happens to you, make sure your family knows. So my mother is 70. She doesn't know, she doesn't get all of this stuff, but I have a Nano, and all I have on it, it's in the box, it has the private key in it and all of that. And literally it says, if anything happens to me, this is money. Do not throw this away. Give it to XYZ person and they will know what to do with it, because there are stories of people who, the family member died, they had the private key, they had the wallet, and that Bitcoin is gone. 20, 30, 40 Bitcoins that they purchased in 2013, that's worth however much money today, gone. And the family can't do anything about it. There is no 1-800-Bitcoin, give me another private key.com.
Yes, that's a good point.
Now, if somebody creates that, then it'll be mainstream, but then the security issues come. So
exactly. Sheree, can I add one thing about that 42 million? One of the things to understand about that is you can be one individual and you can own as many wallets as possible. So that number doesn't mean 42 million people. have it
Well,
because.
it just says users here, so I wonder if it is people.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
It doesn't explicitly say what type of wallet either. So if we're talking probably crypto, that could be a whole different thing than those individuals, like I said, carrying around digital assets,
Data.
tokenization assets, and they have to have a wallet somewhere else as well. So I think it's vague enough to leave room for assumption, but
Yeah, for wiggle,
it's
wiggle
a
room.
small number for what we're about to go into.
But even if you had triple, let's say you had 120 million, again, out of 6 billion people, it's still
low.
not a lot. So one of the things I'm just trying to relay to people is you're early. You're early here, which is great because usually we as a people get the stuff late and the money is already made by the time we get to it. Now, because you're listening to this now, you are early and you can be a part of that wave. Just thinking about people who got into Facebook in 2006, 2007, and they were teaching people how to use Facebook and teaching businesses how to get on Facebook and how to set up their profiles and their pages. Where are they today? You know, these are the people that are the multimillionaires today. So just, and they didn't know how to code. Like Talisha always says, tell me how HTML runs, or how, was it TCP/IP, whatever that is. Like, we don't know.
No one cares to know that. Everybody wants to know what the Wi-Fi password is.
There you go.
Where is it? Everybody wants to know. If I go into like, guess what behind it? They're like, I don't care.
I don't care.
My password. Wi-Fi password that you're telling me? No, okay, never mind.
So there will be big money in people just helping people set up their wallets. You know, there will be big money in people teaching how to do certain things within tokenization of assets, for example, which is the ability for people to buy fractional shares of, or small ownership pieces, let's say, of, you know, real estate, art. There's Den Whittle, who is a basketball player who is selling parts of his contract, you know, all sorts of stuff. There are people who are going to be advising on these things. You can be one of them. There's a huge, huge world out there, is all that I'm saying. This next one, I just want to bring up because it's going to affect some of our people. Blockchain can reduce 30% of banks' infrastructure costs. That means if you are the person that's approving certain things, verifying certain things, this is your job. Your job, blockchain can reduce your job. I want you to read that and read into that. So when we start talking about how jobs will change, certain jobs will no longer be needed, this is us reading between the lines here. So I just want to let people know. And it's not just banks, it's all sorts of traditional industries. So 90% of people engaging in Bitcoin are men. Kendra, what are we going to do about that? What is this?
That's better than the 4% we used to be at. So I'm like, hey, I'm excited about that.
So we're moving up. So ladies, let me tell you something. I was going to this conference before COVID-19 came about, and they had tickets for minorities, like set aside free. The tickets were like $2,000, but they had tickets for minorities set aside free. I'm telling you, if you want to go to blockchain conferences, you show them a picture of you. You're a Black female. You're anything of color. They're like, please, yes, you need a free ticket? Oh, of course, come on in. They will do it. I don't really pay for too much in the blockchain industry. So.
You know what? I'm sorry. Can I ask this? Now, obviously, you know, you three are in the 10%. But let me just ask you this: why do you think more women aren't more interested in blockchain or blockchain Bitcoin? Like, why do you think that?
I think it's just the technology aspect of it. You know, when it even comes to the technology sector, women, we aren't really represented in this industry. So with blockchain still being in the tech industry, we're still going to be underrepresented. And I just feel we're not getting the information out to one another, because it's like once you figure out it's more about the blockchain than the technical aspect of it, then you can see where you fit in or how it benefits you. And it benefits everybody in everybody's background. Like blockchain hits every background. So whatever industry you're in, once we can relate it to women, such as, hey, this is how this can work for you. You have children, this is how blockchain works for healthcare or childcare at that. We have to make it relatable for them to understand it or even be interested in it.
I also think that there's a point of like investment in general. We are not strong investors in that aspect. We still lag in that even regular traditional investment strategies. And also, again, it goes to discretionary income. If we're making less than you, automatically our income is reduced in order that we won't be able to actually, invest in these things. And it does require discretionary income. Most of these people are putting in money that they can potentially lose.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have money to lose, you're not likely to invest. So I think it's a tiered approach to it that I think, yes, it does kind of scare people to talk about something they don't know. But when you're already lagging behind in taking that it takes time, money to learn and to apply, we're at a disadvantage.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, I agree, and so does Regina. So Kendra, Regina agrees with you. I think, and I've been saying this for a while with regards to Black people and also women, when people see a use case that they can grab onto, then I think the tides are going to change with that. So, and women tend to be less risk, we're less risk tolerant, yes, just in our natures. So this one is funny too. The FBI owns 1.5% of the world's total Bitcoins. I have to admit, I didn't know that until I saw it here tonight.
Why, though?
Wow, look at that.
Yes, I do know why.
That is the question, and the answer to that question is they have been doing brokering deals, and they've been absconding the seizure of illegal Bitcoin. So
I know about that. Yes.
Yeah. So that's exactly, this is their bounty for doing their job, so to speak, but they get to claim it and keep it.
Oh, wow.
Because it's not destroyed. You can't say, okay, we're going to give it back or we're going to put it back to the taxes. They actually keep it as an organization.
And they're making money.
Yeah, they're making money on it. Trust and believe.
Oh.
So, yeah, all I'm going to say is our reparations. Okay. That's our reparations right there.
Come on with the Bitcoin.
Give every Black person a Bitcoin and say, here's how you put it in your wallet. There you go.
We'll be ready to learn.
Can I just say something about that? Can I just say something about that? Which is, y'all, let's be honest. All right, I think Bitcoin right now is trading right now at like 7,300. Okay, we know some people who have called some really far numbers, right? I mean, really far numbers. And what would that look like if we hit those numbers and with it, right? And with the FBI, like
sitting there with that money.
They are going to sit pretty. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, the Treasury Department be like, hey. Hey.
This is Bitcoin. You don't have it.
So this is another interesting one for people who are in healthcare. 55% of healthcare applications will have adopted blockchain for commercial deployment by 2025.
Yes.
If you are in healthcare, not tech, healthcare itself, you're a nurse, you're a doctor, you're an orthopedist, you're a, administrator, this affects you in good ways and bad ways, but there's going to be a lot of opportunity in the next 5 years with healthcare applications, which then goes to, and if you're in the financial sector, of course, you can see They've spent a lot of money, and they're the ones that are spending the most money right now.
Mm.
Which then goes into, okay, how do you invest in the blockchain? So this article is a couple of years old, but it was the best one that I could find that talked about the risk, the advantages and the disadvantages of crypto and ICO investing. So ICO stands for Initial Coin Offering. In 2018, it was catching a lot of attention, and they're going to talk in here about some of the things that were happening in 2018, including a lot of scams, which still do happen, but they have been lessened because the SEC really got involved in 2018. But rapid growth of the crypto industry has ushered in some serious investment risk. Due to that, there are some crypto and ICO investment risks that investors should be aware of. One of the first things I will say is if you're putting money into utility tokens, then that's not really an investment. That is speculation. The risk associated with ICOs and cryptocurrencies are higher than more traditional methods of investing, including stocks, bonds, and funds, because the rules are still being figured out. This was in 2018, the rules were still being figured out, and I would say today that is still the case. So this again goes back to Eric's question about why more women aren't getting involved. This is it. We don't have the tolerance for letting you guys figure it out. Like, we'll let you figure it out and then we'll come in on the back end, which is sad to me because I think that he or she who makes the rules, you know, earns the riches. But they talked here about Ripple being the first prominent ICO in early 2013, and ICO's first gained mainstream with Ethereum becoming a massive crowdfunding success in 2014. So here are 5 common risks that ICOs and cryptocurrency are prone to. The values of the coins and the tokens are speculative. So they go up and down with great volatility, meaning that one day they could be at, let's say Bitcoin. One day Bitcoin's at 20,000, you know, I don't know, 5-10 days later, it could be down to 8,000. That's how this works. So if you don't have the stomach for that, then, you know, investing in crypto is probably not the best place for you. However, investing in blockchain projects, so I don't want you to leave just yet because of this. Acquiring full details on ICOs and their purpose can be difficult and sometimes impossible before making an investment. There will be a discussion further in this article about how to do that, how to actually do the research. Some ICO issuers are only startup concepts that do not actually have business operations in place yet. So we're used to investing in the stock market where if somebody, even if it's a penny stock, they had to go through the SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission, and be vetted in some way. With ICOs, if they are not located in the United States, there's no vetting. If they're located in the United States, the laws have changed a bit, but a lot of even US-based companies are moving to Puerto Rico and other places offshore to avoid US laws with this. Depending on the country of origin, some ICOs may not be subject to regulations and not be required to disclose certain information. And crypto and ICO investments are often targeted by hackers and scammers. So I'm going to open this up to my panel now. Any of the things that we discussed, what sticks out to you?
You know what? Go ahead.
Ms. Kendra, she's the crypto expert.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to come off of mute, Ms. Kendra.
I think she's frozen. So yeah, I think she's frozen. So you guys can go ahead.
I would say we had the discussion, I think a week ago with regard to digital asset versus a cryptocurrency. So that number one point is that sometimes it's speculative, but other times it's actually a stability aspect to it. It has a specific ratio or a specific quantity that you're going to. So you do have to make that assertion. Is it a stable coin? Is it a true cryptocurrency? You'll need to know that before investing in it, because you need to know what is backing it, how it is mined, if in fact it is mined, or if it truly is just something that is a replication of a current physical asset.
Yeah, I think we got Kendra back now. So Kendra, you want to talk about this part of the article, talking about the risk of crypto, since that's your wheelhouse?
I think she just froze
I
again.
think she froze again. Okay, Eric, go ahead.
You know what? Like, one thing I do want to say is absolutely, like, I will tell you that I love this because of the asymmetric upside to cryptocurrency. To me, that's just super attractive to me as an investment. The fact that you can risk a very nominal amount to whatever degree you're at, and have the potential for an asymmetric bet on that. At the same time, that can also go the opposite ways. You can have an asymmetric downside too, and we've seen that before. I also want to say one thing too, just about as far as equities into some of these blockchain projects. And I know that this is not covering this. We're talking about crypto and talking about ICOs. But I'll just be honest. If you really want to stop and think about it, here's one company that, to me, when this company goes public, expect everyone to probably rush in and buy it, and that's Coinbase.
Yep.
I mean, you're looking at like a major player in the entire infrastructure of cryptocurrency. That right now that's privately held. I think I saw like Serena Williams is like she's an investor and that sort of thing. Of course, you had to get in, you had to know someone, that sort of stuff. But man, can you imagine that once, and Sheree, you've been calling this for a while, that company's going to go public. And,
Yep.
when they do, yeah, like that will be.
It's going to be a lot of money made
Yes,
from Coinbase. Coinbase is the bridge between fiat currency and the crypto world. And right now they're the big, I won't say the only, but I don't know what, they're probably like 60-70% of the market in terms of that first bridge for people into the crypto space. So yeah. So let's continue on with the article here, because they have a lot of great stuff in here. So they talk about the speculative value of the coins, and coins and tokens theoretically rise in value as more people start adopting and using them. So one of the issues that you will see with a lot of coins that are just coming out in the ICO phase is that a lot of people, they may not have a big community. A lot of people may not be using them. And they're, just like just like people starting a startup business, it does take a lot of inertia to get a business or get a blockchain project up and running. It takes a lot, and it takes a community in order to do so. So a lot of people will not invest or purchase a certain coin until it's reached a certain threshold of people that actually own that coin, or a certain trading volume, or things like that. This could be a way for you as an individual investor to figure out if this is a project that you actually want to participate in. So you need to know the difference between coins and tokens. Tokens are units of value that are created on a blockchain, and coins or cryptocurrency exist on their own blockchain as a unit of value. So Bitcoin, for example, is a coin. My favorite blockchain project is Factom. the Factom token is still a token. It's a utility token. It is something that's used whenever you use the Factom protocol. So tokens are designed to have a wider range of functionality than digital cash. A couple of things you should know about the values of cryptocurrency. They are not backed by a government or a central bank like traditional currencies. Cryptocurrency values can rise and fall dramatically in a short period of time with no guarantees of ever coming up again. If you don't have the stomach for this, do not invest in crypto. It's different than like the foreign exchange market and things like that, where things will typically go up and down if you are patient enough. So I want to open it up to my panel. Kendra, are you back? Let's see here. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, you're a little spotty. Your Wi-Fi is spotty.
Yes, I was gonna. So
Yeah, maybe use your phone. Maybe use your cell phone. Maybe that'll be better. Yeah, 'cause you're very spotty right now. We definitely want to hear from you. Okay, Talisha and Eric, you guys have anything to say about this part?
I'd say again, a good use case in the sense of tokens. I think we go back to, I was explaining this to children, and I always say like Chuck E. Cheese tokens. They're great when you're in the building. They have great value when you're doing whatever it is that you're doing in the building, but when you leave the building, they're worthless. You know, that's how you think of the token. It has a value in a very specific ecosystem, and outside of it, nobody cares.
Very true.
So that in itself is when you want to leverage this, and this is where it becomes a good thing and a bad thing. So depending on where you're wanting, if you know that ecosystem is a really hot commodity. So we're looking at, for example, video games. In a video game scenario, tokens are going to be a very strong asset in there.
Mm-hmm.
Because not only can you leverage them for the game itself, you now do get to the ecosystem kind of is a tangential one. So you can start to buy paraphernalia, you can start to rent different things, you can buy bonus packs, you can actually get somebody to sign or get a new toy or something of that nature. That's where these entities become very token centric. And again, now the prize money will be relative to the tokens that you're buying. So you may not have to actually spend the money, but your tokens can be your entry fee to playing these games that actually get you fiat currency. So like there's these little movements with these kind of tokens versus a Bitcoin or just a coin. And that's where you have to make those distinctions very clearly, because that semantic, people are like, oh, they're interchangeable. They're not. You really have to know those things in order to make sure that you're using them very strategically.
Right.
Kendra?
Okay, can you hear me now?
We can hear you are loud and clear.
Awesome. Okay, and what's the question for me? I was out for a minute.
Okay, sure. So we were talking about the difference between coins and tokens, the fact that tokens are, like Talisha did the great example of cheese, you know, utility tokens. My favorite token is Factom, which really isn't good anywhere else except for on the Factom protocol. Whereas coins are, you know, they are considered a digital currency, but they're not backed by a central bank. You cannot go to the United States government and say, I need a new Bitcoin. It doesn't work like that. And they rise and fall. The value of it rises and falls. So there's no guarantees that of where that the value of those coins are going to be from day to day versus fiat currency. So we're just talking about this section.
Okay.
And, yeah, and we know crypto specifically is your thing, so we want to.
Yes. So a good example that I wanted to use is Steam. I don't know if a lot of people even remember the Steam It platform. And what that platform was, it was pretty much like a Facebook on the blockchain is what Steam It was. So any kind of content that you created, whether it was a video or you wrote a poem or you wrote a monologue, you could pretty much share those amongst other people, just like we share in other groups.
Mhm.
And depending on how people had engaged in the post, that would be how you would start to generate your steam. Now, the good thing about Steam is that they had Steam dollars, and those were your tokens. That's what pretty much stayed on the platform. That's what powered the platform. Now, once it became on an exchange, it was then called, your Steam It. It was called Steam It from there. So you could buy on the different exchanges with the Steam It cryptocurrency, but the Steam that ran the blockchain, that it was like a staking token, because you didn't move it off of the blockchain, it stayed there to power it. But then you could also get the cryptocurrency and trade that on the exchanges as well. So what I had liked about Steam, it was they made sure that you engaged in the content that you wanted to create and share and like and post, just like we do on a daily basis. You were actually getting paid for that engagement.
Right. Or you were able to pay your favorite contributors.
Or you could
Yeah.
like theirs, share theirs, and it would pay for them as well.
Exactly. Eric, did you have anything else you want to say?
Well, I just want to say one thing that I love about this space, and this is like an attribute though of it. Like listen, this right here, this is dumb money. And let me just tell you what I mean by that. And I said,
you can send it to me if it's dumb. I'll take it. You may not be able to be holding up stuff like that talking about dumb money.
Yeah, let me tell you what I mean by that. Let me tell you what I mean. But this is only designed to do one thing, and that is for the person on the other side, whatever that good or service is, they can accept that for the good or service. But when I go to programmable money, then I can actually take money and have it start doing things that I probably would have, never thought about it doing, before. And that to me is one of the things that I think is most attractive about some of the coins and the tokens and the projects. We look at Ethereum, smart contract platform, there where you have automated, decision-making on the blockchain. And now we look at that and we see the metamorphosis where, yes, that's still absolutely an attribute of Ethereum, but we also see Ethereum as, really used in decentralized finance. And we just begin to see this evolution that to me only happens in blockchain and cryptocurrency. That doesn't happen here. This is still going to be used the way that we're going to use it. But these tokens then are able to take on new life, new use cases because they are digital and they are programmable. So
I think that's the liquidity aspect that we talk about since we're talking to the titan of tokenization. This is where when you utilize a token to represent a digital asset, so this is where you can buy a building, but you want to keep it and you say, okay, now I don't want that building. I want my money right this very second. This is where this becomes the liquidity factor. Now your tokens can instantly be converted into whatever you want it to be. So that could be another cryptocurrency, it could be fiat currency. But that factor, you could not do that if you just had a fiat to fiat exchange. You have to go through a whole protocol that takes quite some time, and that's not feasible, specifically if you want to, dump and run or something. Like I said, we just talked about having the need for people to take out money at large portions of time when they think something's happening, and they want to have that transition happen very quickly. That is not a capability we have right now in our current system. But in the blockchain system, that ecosystem is proliferated with that ability to make those exchanges in lightning speed. So if I want my money right now for the piece of jewelry that I have, or the building, or the swampland that I have, yes, I can get all of that real quick and do what I need to do.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So this section is about how to do the research. I'm going to start off here talking about the crypto, but I'm going to loop in investing in blockchain projects. Because if you're talking about making real money and serious money, I've been saying it for 2 years now, it's not in the crypto.
Nope.
It's not in the crypto. It's in blockchain projects and blockchain companies. So, but this is a good place to start. So research is a foundational element of successful investing. Very true. Okay, so they're talking about here how to research a crypto investment. First thing you do is you start off with a white paper and you read it, make sure it cites previous work. Find the management team. Who's on the team? Don't just look at their pictures, click on their LinkedIn, see their bios, do they have any experience, any management experience, any business entrepreneurial experience, anything like that? Do they seem like a solid team? Do they seem like a team that knows both marketing and community management and technology and operations and all of that? Are they a well-rounded team? Or is it just a team of frat brothers who got together and all of them, is smooth talkers, but nobody is behind it actually running the engine and doing the operational pieces necessary to move it forward? Number 3, review its activity on social media. How active are they on social media? And then how active and engaged audience do they have? Are they engaging with the audience? Is an audience engaging with them? Because again, with crypto, one of the things that is vital to crypto is a strong community of believers who are active in that project. Because if you don't have that, the project is going to fail, and the crypto is the value of that crypto is definitely going to go to zero, or the value of that token is. Determine the purpose of the ICO or fundraise. Why are they raising the money? Are they raising it to afford their Lambo and their Gucci or whatever else they're wearing? Or are they, sorry?
She's
I was
laughing.
laughing like to the moon. Remember, that was the slogan, to the moon.
To the moon. Oh. I go on people's social media to see how they live, because I don't invest in people's lifestyles. And that's crypto as well as blockchain projects or any other investments that I do. I'm not saying you have to live in squalors. However, if you've got a $3 million mansion, you've got 5 kids and they're all in private school, you've got this, that, and the third going on, and it'll be on people's social media. They'll have that on their Facebook and Instagram. Most of the time, you're investing in them keeping up with their lifestyle. So, that's just a free piece of advice from Cherie. So, so determine the purpose of the ICO or the fundraise. So I will tell everybody, I'm a business plan writer by trade, and I've written hundreds of business plans for companies that are raising capital. So that's how I have some of this inside knowledge and seeing the other side of it as well. But with the fundraise, usually people are raising money to get to a next step or a next milestone. Are they trying to build a beta product and they need $200,000 in order to do that? Are they trying to get it out to the masses and they need marketing money? Are they trying to get it used by a certain number of banks, so they need money in order to push that business development? What is the purpose? Why are they raising the money? Why are they raising the money? Answer these questions. It's a cryptocurrency using its own blockchain. What purpose will the new crypto serve? How are the tokens or coins being distributed, and who receives what in the company? There you go.
There you go.
I got questions. Find elements of social proof that legitimize the company offering the ICO. This could be in the forms of reviews, case studies, ratings, or even social media engagement. So be a detective. Be a detective if you're going to invest in an ICO. Now, ICOs were much more popular in 2018. I don't see as many of them these days. But one thing that I will say is people can start investing in blockchain companies. If you're an accredited investor, if you are thinking of joining a team of people and starting your own blockchain business, you want to think about these things as well. You want to think about who's on the team that I'm putting money into. What's the problem that they're solving? They didn't really say it in here, but what's the problem that they're solving? Why is blockchain the solution to that problem? Is blockchain the solution to that problem? Or are we just throwing blockchain on something that doesn't really need it? It doesn't really serve or help, because a lot of people back in 2017 were doing that. They would throw blockchain on everything. Like Samson Williams said, blockchain was hot sauce on everything, and it's not meant to be that. What are people raising the money for? What does that money get them? Like, what milestone does it get that project to? And you may not invest your money in a project. You may invest your time. You may decide to get on a board, or to become an advisor, or to do some consulting with the company, or to be brought on as a project manager or something like that. You want to ask these questions because your time is worth more than money a lot of times. And if you get in the right blockchain project, that could mean millions of dollars to you if you get in the right blockchain project and you negotiate the right percentage of equity. So how do you get these opportunities? Network in your city. Go to meetups. You will meet a ton of people. You go to meetups, you go to different conferences, you start talking to people, you network with people on LinkedIn, network in GitHub and other places like that. Opportunities will come to you. Trust me. So I want to open it up to my panel now. I know I've said a lot.
I definitely wanted to add to that when we're talking about investing in blockchain startups, and especially amidst of what's going on right now. I had wanted to use COVID-19 as a prime example on, how does blockchain and COVID-19 relate? Well, of course, we always have to do research. I went down that rabbit hole and I just thought it was so awesome what I had found. What's going on over in China right now. China has deployed over 20 blockchain solutions since COVID-19 has taken place. One of the major issues that they were having was their supply chain when it was dealing with the medical supplies. So what they have been doing over there is when they did implement blockchain, for instance, they have a company, Hyperchain. We're familiar with Hyperchain. And what Hyperchain has done for them is track their medical supplies. They partner with a company named Shenzong. What Shenzong does is it's a donation tracking blockchain. So the people who are donating, money for these medical supplies to be directly delivered to the hospitals that are assisting the COVID-19 patients, they're able to track that on the blockchain and see that their funds are actually being utilized for the things they say it's being utilized for, face mask or hand sanitizer, whatever it may be. And so they're able to see which hospitals are housing the most patients, COVID-19 patients, and are able to get the supplies to them. So that's what I say, watch the trend. What has happened there is going to what happened here. So as I was searching some more, I looked at Berkeley. Berkeley has one of the biggest blockchain labs here, and they partnered with a company called Snark Health. And what Snark Health is doing is a data-driven blockchain solution. And what they're doing is putting physicians together and patients together to talk about newly developed information about COVID-19, how we're disseminating the information. Maybe the patients who are affected with it are able to tell them, on-site symptoms and what they're doing for there. So it's honestly going to keep the information up to date And as things change, everything's timestamped. So all information will be authentic information or new information. So they're not disseminating old information for the virus that may have mutated again. So it's those types of things that I was looking at, that over in China, they've already deployed these solutions. And now, of course, since it's hitting us very hard, what are we going to do? We're going to follow suit. So that's what you do. You look for those companies that are going to be beneficial in those areas, such as medical supplies, and following medical supplies, making sure that they are authentic. Block Pharma, that is another one. It's actually out in France, not here, but Block Pharma, they do that. They are a drug traceability and anti-counterfeiting solution. So, of course, it's based on the latest machine learning technology. So it allows people not to, number one, give more prescriptions than what are already prescribed, and then to make sure that they aren't counterfeit as well. So those are a few things that I've been seeing with the trend of blockchain with COVID-19.
That's some good stuff. I love the fact that you talk about looking outside the United States, seeing what other countries or other companies are doing in other countries and importing that to the United States. You know, I think that that is an overlooked strategy, and there are going to be a lot of people that do the same thing from other cultures. We could do that as well, you know. I also want to suggest that people use groups like BBC. This is our community where we're able to have masterminds about this stuff. So Kendra's bringing something new to me that I hadn't really, there's so much happening in blockchain that you really can't keep up with it all. But if you're like, I'm hungry, I want to do something, I'm looking for an idea, pull some people together and say, hey, let's have a mastermind for an hour and just do some research and see what's out there. You get 4 or 5 smart people together, you all will come up with $3-4 billion ideas. Don't forget your girl wants a cut. But go ahead,
she wants that dumb money real quick. So
I will take the dumb money and make it smart money. Don't get me wrong. Don't get a girl wrong, but yes. Go ahead, Talisha.
I would say, just to piggyback off of Kendra again, I'm in healthcare. That is my, as Cherie would say, that's my major. And specifically, we see this happening all over. And from that, even the first article with 55% of this deployment happening in our industry, it really goes to problem solving. And again, this is data driven. So I always say, not only go where the money's going, but see where the problems really lie. If you have a stale system, if you have legacy systems that are not supporting, we just talked about this, the governor of New Jersey asked for COBOL programmers because they cannot process all the claims coming from COVID-19. So they need their legacy system, which COBOL, if anyone knows, is like the dinosaur of all dinosaurs. Yeah, like it's literally written in English and you write and put periods at the end. It's that bad, but they have such a backlog of that. So these are the problems that truly need to be solved with the latest technology, because these are not going to survive. So we know that these are where the projects are going to lie, is how do we get off of those behemoths of those legacy systems, and where are the data? We have this data pools, but we don't have any way to leverage it. So now we just have info because that's where we came from. But now we need to make that valuable information, and data is going to be the next part where we kind of look for where are those projects, are they solving a problem that speak to a legacy kind of problem, or are they speaking to the data that now needs to be managed much more effectively?
Got it.
Eric, anything else you have?
Oh, you know, just one thing I did want to add for this general guide, and this is a tip that I actually learned from Mark Moss in the investment club that he used for evaluating some of these projects. Is he would look and see who was on the advisory board, and it wasn't that he was looking to see who was on the advisory board, like the person had their sleeves rolled up and they're right there next to the devs and they're doing the work with them, but it was to the point where, you know, when the company itself, when the crypto project itself, the startup, is looking for adoptions, for instance, if they are looking, like Kendra just mentioned, supply chain, if that's the area that they have focused on, you kind of want to look and see on the advisory board, do they have someone there, you know, who's already in supply chain? just because that person there, it's probably a simple phone call for them to go in, to look and to start getting integrated. So that was one of the things too, that I'll never forget that, that Mark used that as an evaluation tool.
Or are you that person that could be that potential advisory board member where you know everybody and you've come across some great, phenomenal engineers that don't know a thing about business development, don't know a thing about, marketing and positioning or anything like that, but they've got a great blockchain solution. You could put yourself in a great position to get, a nice piece of the company in exchange for doing introductions to prospective clients.
100%.
Yeah. So, so there were a couple of things Tawana said in here. One of the first things I learned when entering the blockchain space was how to identify a solid blockchain project or investment. Number one, are they solving a problem that the world needs? Number two, are they using blockchain tech to its highest and best use, meaning can this problem only be solved with the blockchain? And number three, is it scalable? So I didn't mention the scalable piece, but you bring up a good point, Tawana. Scalable. Yeah, and Talisha is talking about COBOL here. Yeah, and Daniel as well. So I just want to continue through this just a little bit more. So with operational business, is it an operational business or is it just a concept? Operational business means, for me, that they have money coming through the door. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're profitable, but do they have any revenue? Do they have clients that are paying them? Or is it something that is on the drawing board where, they haven't even built their beta product yet? Or is it somewhere in between where they built their beta, they don't have paying clients yet, but they've got a group of people that are actively using their concept?
Or they've gotten their funding. So that's another point. They have maybe just received their funding. And so now, they're a solvent company in the sense that they may not have revenue, but they're well funded to continue the project on.
Exactly. Regulations and ICOs, there's something called the Howey test that people should know. And this is basically to determine if something is a security or not. You want to do some research on it. It's a fascinating story of a legal case. So all of my lawyers out there, or people who think that the law is a little bit fascinating, you can learn about the Howey test. And the Howey test determines if something is a security offering. Back in 2018, people were trying to put these ICOs up, saying they were utilities, and really they were security tokens. So this is the Howey test here. And then, of course, there's a lot of hackers and scammers within the ICO and the blockchain space. So you got to be careful in terms of who you are dealing with.
Definitely that.
So there are 3 ways that if you're investing in a blockchain company, there are 3 ways that you can make your money back. If you're investing in a crypto, you can just make your money as the price goes up and goes down, basically goes up, because I don't think there are any options with crypto yet. There may be some Bitcoin futures. I know there were Bitcoin futures and things like that. I don't know about the options yet, but if you are investing in a blockchain project, meaning you're investing in the LLC or the corporation, the way you get your money back is either the company is sold, and these companies are going to start being sold to Fortune 500 companies or private equity companies. So that's number 1, it's sold. Number 2, it does an initial public offering or IPO, which means that it is placed on the stock exchange, New York Stock Exchange, NASDAQ, one of the stock exchanges, and you're able to sell your shares there. Or the companies start making money and they remain private, and you get a piece of the profits, you know, based on the company itself and when they decide they want to start releasing profits and paying back shareholders. So those are the three ways that people get their money back. I do encourage people to invest in blockchain projects. So you can tell I'm not unbiased. I'm very biased in investing in blockchain projects, investing in the right ones though, because the right one can make you a multimillionaire.
Yep.
And there's room for all of us to be able to do it.
And it can be minimal investment at that.
Good. That's good.
Minimal money investment, and could be minimal time investment depending on who you are. You may not even have to put money up into a project if you're bringing something else to the table. And a lot of engineers, they need project managers, they need people who are operations people, people who can organize them, people who can market and sell. A lot of engineers don't have those skills. So if you bring those skills to the table, you could have your pick of great companies that you want to work with.
I believe it.
Yeah. Okay, so we have gone over, but this is a great conversation. What I want to do is, of course, invite everybody to join Black Blockchain Consultants. You can go to blackblockchainconsultants.com. You can take a class at blockchainstudies.tech. Check out our YouTube page. Please subscribe because we're trying to get our numbers up on our YouTube page. But you saw we have 195 videos there. This is going to be 196 videos. We've got tons of content for you on that YouTube page, all free, all sorts of stuff we talk about on the page. And now I'm going to go around and let my panel say final words. So Eric, why don't we start with you? Final words.
You know, I just wanted to say, and I've really been thinking about this now, you know, over the past, you know, week or so, that I believe, you know, we've seen what's happened in the traditional finance markets. And I just believe that blockchain is now, to me, really getting dressed for the party. That now this is a time in which, as we begin to, you know, and I understand, guys, we're not there yet, but as we begin to really come out of this, that people will be looking for blockchain as a real viable solution and cryptocurrency as a real viable application too. So everyone watching this, just know you are in the right place at the right time.
Yes. All right, Talisha.
Going back to what we were saying earlier, I think all businesses are tech businesses, but what we have to be mindful of is that there's business operations going on before there's tech. Tech is always going to be there, but a whole thing, a whole system that has to support that. So that's from the marketing, the accounting, the distribution, even the problem solving of how to make this business leverage the tech that it's using. So there's a whole host of things you can do besides just being concentrated in the tech. So keep that in mind when you're looking for things, and also looking for the investment. The company has to have a whole company and a business around it, not just a piece of tech.
Yep.
Absolutely. Kendra.
Definitely want to piggyback off of you, Talisha. Hands down, it's the whole nine that you're looking for. And backing up what Tawana said, you know, what real world problem is it solving? Like, a lot of the opportunities that are going to be coming out in the next few years are focused on humanitarianism and how we're really helping each other as a whole. So just as you saw, I looked in China. The next one is Africa. You know, that's really huge what's going on in Africa now. And it's, you know, we focus on the United States a lot and what's going on here, but I just kind of feel this is a time for us to start thinking out of the box now. And, you know, expanding our horizons and crossing over these borders, just because us together in other areas, we really are the ones who can create that change. So I just want, you know, us to get more educated and stay ahead and just aware and conscious about the things that are going on, especially since we're on the front line right now. There's no one in front of the other one. It's still, mass adoption hasn't even taken place yet. But when it does happen, you want to make sure that you're aware of what's going on.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I hope that everyone has a wonderful week, a safe, safe journey through all of this. We know that these are crazy times, but I will say this, there are going to be some millionaires and billionaires made because of COVID-19, because of the upcoming recession. I want you to be one of them. I intend to be one of them. So y'all want to come on the journey with with us, then definitely do that. There is more than enough for all of us, and there are going to be plenty of opportunities, more opportunities than there are people who who are able to take advantage of them. So my mother was telling me something disturbing this morning about the numbers of suicides that have increased, and because of COVID-19, and people feel hopeless and things like that. And you know, I said to her, my great grandmother, born in 1912 in Bruley, Louisiana, like, we come from people that didn't jump off buildings because of the 1929 crash. And, we just come from people who are so resilient. But let's move from being resilient to being victors, and to being able to pivot. I think Dr. Keisha put in there, learn to pivot during all of this, and figure out, something that you can put a stake in, and pick a major. So everybody always teases me about that. I say that all the time, though. Pick a major, and you will do very, very well within blockchain. There's a lot of opportunity. So with that, I'm going to wish everyone a happy week. And we will see you next week, same time, same place, same bat channel. God bless everybody. Have a good evening.
Thanks for
Bye.
having me.
Thanks, Kendra.